For context, I was doing Movember last year, and it was at the end of November, and I did go for a full kind of Tom Selleck look, but did raise £600. So, yeah, thank you. It's great to see all of you. So I recognise some of your faces from my time here so far, but lots of new faces that I don't recognise, and great to see all you agents of change in the room here today. We're going to talk about three things. I'm going to firstly start with some recent product updates and features that we've put into the platform, very much through the lens of Anywhere Intelligence and our everyday heroes. Then we'll have a look at a new product that we've been working on. And then finally, we're going to look at a secret squirrel skunkworks kind of project that we've been working on recently as well, and walk you through what that looks like as well. So, just recapping a bit of what the other guys have said, around 80% of the world's workforce is deskless. We see this manifested in our own clients, in that in our recent surveys we've seen that 72% of our clients have these large contingents of frontline workers. That means they don't have access to a company email quite often, they don't have a laptop, they don't have a company phone, that kind of thing. So we're trying to work on things in the platform that are going to help you reach those people more conveniently and more easily. So we'll start with kiosk codes. We've had the ability to use a kiosk code to access your surveys for a long time, but what we've heard from you is that there can be some friction in that process, particularly when we've been generating that kiosk code, giving it back to you, and then you have to distribute that to all of your employees. We've even heard some extreme examples where they were printing thousands of letters with these kiosk codes on to be posted to home addresses. Now, obviously that's a suboptimal process. So what we've done actually is flipped it on its head now, so you can give us the kiosk code that you would like your employees to use. So ideally, it's something they already know. So payroll number, employee ID, national insurance number, digits from a phone number, that kind of thing. You can combine these things together as well to create a unique code for that person. But if they already know it, you don't need to then distribute that code to them. So it can just be as simple as scanning a QR code in a canteen or somewhere. They already know their kiosk code, so they can just pop that straight in. In this example, I think is 6 digits at the end of a phone number. But it could be a combination of things to make that unique. But that then allows you to get that in front of more people and, crucially, try and increase your response rates for your service, which we all want to do. So that's a good feature. That's available in the platform now as well. What we have learned as well is let's not try and change people's behaviour. Let's get in front of them where they already are. So we know that lots of you have HR portals, internal communication apps, mobile apps, internal social networks, payroll portals, that kind of thing. So we've been working on how do we get these surveys in front of people when they log in to download their payslip or book a holiday. And we've been working with a company called Thrive and working to integrate the two platforms together so that when somebody logs into Thrive to get the latest news on the organisation, they get straight away a pop-up to say, there's a survey open, you must go and take that. So again, trying to get in front of people where they already are. Let's not try and change behaviours and put friction in those processes. There's a quote here from Anna at Volker Vessels. I don't know where Anna is, here somewhere. I have seen her. There she is at the back. Thank you, Anna. They've recently used this approach in their Pulse survey to try and increase their response rate, and actually it's resulted in a record response rate for them off the back of getting this survey in front of them where they already are. Let's not try and change their behaviours. So it definitely works. I encourage you all to start trying to think about how we can do that and how we can integrate with these platforms to enable you to do that. On the deskless theme still, so we have now rolled out the new survey experience across all of our survey types. So they all benefit from this really great mobile experience. It's also better for harder vision users, so it's more accessible. So again, looking to try and increase this response rate and getting it into people's hands that's not on a laptop, that's not on a desktop. In addition to that, we now can do surveys in 38 languages. So you can also have that across the survey as well. So you can have 14 languages or 12 or however many you need to satisfy all of your audience that you're covering them within the survey. That's all available on WorkBuzz, but not on Starter, but it's on the other products as well. And that's all available now. What we do as well is all the comments, regardless of language, get auto-translated back to English. So your dashboard experience is still a unified experience all in English, and you can't identify people because they've answered in a particular language, that kind of thing. So on the topic of dashboards, we have spent a lot of time making our dashboard experience much, much better on a mobile phone. I know from personal experience, the survey would close on a Sunday night, for example, and I would click the link to see how our team are doing, and the experience you were getting there wasn't great. So we've spent a lot of time rolling this out now. You've still got all of the capabilities to slice and dice the data and filter it however you see fit, but it works great on the phone now as well. And that's already been rolled out. It's on all survey types. You can make use of that straight away. Onboard and exit surveys. I know some of you use this. It's part of WorkBuzz Premium. We've recently made a couple of updates to this. One is that we have added some more granular control over manager access to this, particularly around open questions where they haven't granted access for their line manager to read that. So that's in the platform now. But we've also just recently rolled out this individual feedback report, which is a PDF you can download from the onboarding and exit survey results. And it's great just to file into the record for that employee in a really nice, kind of tidy, concise way. And that's also available now. It's on onboard and exit on WorkBuzz Premium. On that topic, to continue onboard and exit surveys, we understand that particularly for exit surveys, reaction time is really important because for many of you who your everyday heroes may be on short notice periods, they can be out of the business very quickly. We've been working on a way to automate the process for you to send those and trigger those exit surveys. So we have this capability to use SFTP, which is it's a bit like a secure section of our Amazon cloud that you can deposit your files into. And you can do that from virtually any HRIS system. Lots of them, you won't need a consultant to come and write you a complicated integration. You can just create a report of all the levers of the business, set a cadence of how frequently you want that to run, and just set WorkBuzz as the destination. And we will just ingest that into the platform, send your surveys off automatically for you. So it automates that process, takes that overhead away from you. It's dead easy to set up. You're not going to have to pay a consultant to come in and write this complicated integration with us. And it's free. It's part of WorkBuzz Premium. It's free for onboard and exit surveys, particularly. I'm going to hand back to Steve now, I think, and then I'll be back soon. So,
thank you. I think the reason we do what we do was just a conversation I had literally 5 minutes before we started with one of you in the room. I'm not going to say who it is because I didn't get your permission to mention it in front of the room. But we're talking about onboard exit and the importance of really, if you provide a great employee experience, big of employees stay. And this client just said to me that helped them to just literally just save an employee who's going to leave, because you get data that's actionable. It's before you can make an intervention, and that's made a tangible difference to that one person stay. And that's why we're here. That's why WorkBuzz exists, is to make those kind of differences and create those moments that matter. So I think all of those updates Lewis has shared just allow us to do that more efficiently for you, taking away some of the pain points around that too. And then all the parts of what we focus on are a result of your feedback. I know our customer success team, I'm really proud of our customer success team, that support you, feedback to us in terms of what you love, what you'd like us to work on, all the feedback from any surveys we send you, every single bit, I promise you, we read. We review, we theme around that too. We can't always action it immediately, but do all of that stuff as a result of the feedback over the last year or so. And what makes me really excited was this time last year we raised our biggest ever funding rounds at the time, about $1.5 million. And that allowed us to really build out our engineering team. We brought Lewis in. Lewis ran his own software agency, shut that down and joined WorkBuzz, brought his best developers across. We had some great ones before, we added new talent. And we found that pace of change just get faster as we sort of increased our resources. And it's been a lot of fun as well. So we've really focused this last year on our platform, and you've seen some of that. But equally, what's really important for us is our community. I feel super lucky and proud of likes of you we have in the room now in terms of we've been part of your journey, you've been part of ours. Relationships we've built, and what we want to do more of is create that community. So I think today is absolutely about sharing some best practice and thought leadership, but equally, it's about the networking around that too. So later on, we'll have cocktails, and sometimes you're able to stay, and I really encourage you during the breaks, get to network and get to sort of build those relationships, because a lot of us are going through similar challenges. We know some of our clients having really good years and growing, others having quite a difficult time in terms of the economy around that too. You're not on your own, so let's make the most of the opportunities today to network too. Thinking ahead, this is one of the best photos. This brings me joy, this photo. So this summer, we closed our biggest ever funding round, 6.2 million. And our existing investors supported us, and we had a new leader investor too, YFM. And we took the team to Center Parcs, and we sort of knew this was happening for a while as we entered the due diligence. And a big thank you from me to some of you that helped take part in the due diligence calls. And we organised a trip to Center Parcs, and we had like 2 months counting down. And as some of you will know, some of this sort of deals, they just take longer and longer. There's more lawyers involved, there's more paperwork. And we got it complete 2 days before we were there. And we didn't tell the team, and we wanted to let them know firsthand. So we went to Center Parcs, we celebrated that, and that was just a milestone. But I'm really grateful for your support over the years, helping us get to that level. And what that means, more importantly, is we now have a step change in resources. Up until last June, we'd bootstrapped and raised about £2.5 million. So we raised more than twice we have in our whole history. Last quarter, we've made 20 or so hires since, bringing some real people much smarter than me. We've made some AI hires. It's really important we don't dilute our focus on our partnerships that we have with you. So we've been hiring our customer success team. We have a new customer success manager joining on Monday. So we're trying to really keep the best things about WorkBuzz. We're mission driven. Our North Star is to help impact the working lives of 1 million people. Whether you have 100 employees or 10,000, if we're helping you to create better cultures, give your employees a voice and measure that through our platform, that's how we quantify progress towards our vision. We want to keep the best things about WorkBuzz, that customer focus, the partnerships, you tell me you like and love. We're keeping that, but what that funding allows us to do is massively scale up again our investment in our platform technology. And that gets me super excited, those two things in combination. So what Lewis will be doing in a few minutes' time is giving you a glimpse behind the curtain. There's a few stuff Lewis is going to talk about. Some of you have already been helping to feedback and shape and told us. But what I promise is to you as well as we're acting on your feedback faster, we can't always do it all overnight when tech takes time sometimes, but we can do things faster with more resources. What we also want to do, what the deal also is, we want to be bringing you new innovations. We want to be coming to you saying, look, we've mocked up a proof of concept. We think it will help you with retention, will help you with productivity. What do you think? And really sort of co-creating the future together. That's the kind of company we want to create. So just before I hand over to Lewis, I want to say a big thank you. I want to thank our customer advisory boards. We established our customer advisory boards about 2 years ago on the premise that we can build stuff in the darkened room, but we're not that smart and we may build the wrong stuff. And if we can collaborate with our clients, bring you together face to face, we're much more likely to get it right. And really sort of in that spirit of partnership, co-create something together that's really special. And we've done that with things like onboard exit. You told us you want better PDF reports. You told us you want triggers. You've helped us on the journey to make sure that feedback was actionable for your frontline managers by allowing employees to consent and opt in to share their feedback with their manager in real time as well. So I want to say a massive thank you to our CAB members. Can I ask you, those members of our customer advisory board, just to stand up, please, first of all, if you're members of our customer advisory board. Thank you. As a lot of you aren't you around the room, can we just give them a massive round of applause? Thank you. I said earlier, for me, this is like work Christmas. And it's for those kind of reasons. It's, I really appreciate your support. I feel really privileged to work with so many amazing clients, but it feels like we are genuinely just getting started. And hopefully Lewis will reinforce that. So I want to bring Lewis to the stage, sneak behind the curtain before everyone else has heard about this, how we're acting your feedback, but also how we're really trying to innovate and bring you some new innovation too. So big you up, Lewis. Thank you.
So it feels like a bit of a whirlwind. You've had a bit of a glimpse over what's been happening at WorkBuzz and since the last WorkBuzz Live, which was 11 months ago, something like that. Feels like a real whirlwind since I stood there and talked about driving change and what happens in that kind of fuzzy bit between a pulse survey when you're trying to move the needle and increase those scores at the next survey. Over the last at WorkBuzz Live, we showed a kind of proof of concept of a show car, if you like, of this is what we think it looks like. Come on the journey with us. Let's explore it together and make sure we're building the right thing. And we've spent the last sort of 6 or 9 months working with many of you customers, but also very much with our customer advisory board, who are very influential in these things, in helping to get a better understanding of how do you drive change in your companies at the moment without a digital solution, or what's going to work for you, what isn't going to work, what communication channels, that kind of thing. So what we're trying to do is really close this loop, close this feedback loop from your employees, and demonstrating to them that you've heard their voice and that you are doing something about it. So what we're going to do is show you where we've got to. Before we do that, though, I just want to recap and replay a bit of what we've heard back to you. So we've heard, and what we've been told from many of the people leaders, as well as the agents of change that have been involved in this process, that the level of information and detail that lots of these people leaders get varies a huge amount. Some of them have full access to our dashboards, which is our recommendation. Others are given the PDFs that are downloaded out of our dashboards. Some are given an extract of that PDF, whereas others are even just told, increase your scores for well-being. So it varies a lot from what we see. We have heard that this has to be a carrot and not a stick. It is a tool to have better conversations. It's about empowering your people leaders, giving them the tools and the ability and helping signpost them in the right direction, and making sure that they're having those conversations with the members of their teams, but also up through the management of the organisation as well. And also it's about demonstrating that you are driving change, and things like a "You Said We Did" campaign that runs immediately before your next pulse, hopefully to try and increase those scores again. So that's the kind of thing we've learned from you, and I just want to walk through where we are with this product now as well. So what we have is effectively, this is an empty action plan. Imagine a survey has closed, you've logged into this for the first time. We have this principle within our people science team that really you want to have three goals to improve, so questions from your survey, and 3 to celebrate. So if you have 50 of these things, it's too much, nothing happens, and actually keeping it to a limited scope, so 3 to improve, 3 to celebrate. Keeping it very simple, you can just click to add a goal. You can peg it back to the question from your survey. So if you know which questions you want to drive change against, you can do that. You can select the question, give it a goal, a title, and then start creating actions against that goal so you can track them. We have it, and again, keeping it as simple as we can, we just have a title, a due date, and some notes that you can leave against those actions that you're creating in your action plan. So very simple. It's going to skip forward now, and there'll be 3 available. We have this statuses of draft, in progress, and completed. They start in draft so that you can have the dependencies between those actions and control when they go into progress. And when you complete them, you get fireworks. which I know it's not November the 5th, but who doesn't like fireworks? So that's our basic principles around what an action plan should look like. What we have heard from you is actually we really need to help our people leaders understand where to focus. So even if they have the dashboards, quite often they fall into the trap of focusing on just the lowest scores. And some of those, we have a concept of impact on engagement. If it's a very low impact on engagement and it's scoring low, that's not necessarily where you need to focus. So this part of the platform is now connected to your pulse survey for each individual people leader. It will pull from the survey results the top 3 areas that you should focus on. There's a little video playing in the corner of our lovely head of people science, John Backhouse, explaining the principles behind this. But you can create your title. That's now added that to my action plan, and I can go ahead and start driving change against that, creating actions against that goal. And again, same principles, very simple, easy to use. Now, that's half of it. And what we actually now know as well is that really we want to really take these people leaders and help them understand how they actually implement this as well. So they'll be able to be told what their focus areas are. So the results from the survey, you need to work on these 3 questions. We can then provide access to this action library, which you can filter by question. So again, it's flagged the ones from the focus areas. That action library shortens just to give you that kind of laser-guided focus on these are the top 3 things that we think you should do. And these are derived from our people science team and independent HR consultants of really actionable, bite-sized things that people leaders can do to try and drive change against these questions from the previous survey. One of the things that we think we're going to have coming on stream relatively soon as well is the ability to customize this with your own actions. So let's say you've got a benefits platform, you're struggling to get utilization of it, you could have that added into the action library just for your organization, so it's bespoke to you, and you could ask your people leaders to drive hard against the utilization of that benefits platform. I know we all have systems that we've invested in and struggle to get adoption of that, so it'll be really useful for that. So what's next? Well, version 1 is sort of the custom action plan, so that one where you can just create as many goals and actions in whatever flavor you like. That's available now. The focus areas and suggested action library, that's going to be there before Christmas this year. And that is all going to be part of WorkBuzz Premium. It's a no-cost uplift for WorkBuzz Premium. And if you are interested in using that off the back of your next survey results, please talk to your CSMs about that. We'd love to work with you on this. And really, we see this as step 1 of what action planning looks like and how we drive change. There's lots more we're going to be delivering for this. And we want you to continue to feed back to us how we can improve it. And we've gone from a standing start, I think the first line of code was end of July, to having this rolled out very quickly. So we're now in a good place to keep working on this and keep developing it. And we'd love for you to use it and help us to do that. Okay, moving on. Secret squirrel time. Unless you've been living under a rock, or you haven't been on LinkedIn, or you've not listened to anything by Josh Bersin, then you will know that there is a new wave of AI among us, particularly the generative AIs. And there's no doubt about it, they are going to do amazing things. And Kate is going to talk about that later on today, about all the possibilities that you have as agents of change. It's going to augment our lives in many ways, and some of it is incredible already. But it's not without its problems. And there are some concerns around the freely available things like ChatGPT already. So we're just going to walk through some of those with you. So taking ChatGPT as an example, there are concerns around the ethics and the bias that's inherent in the answers it's giving you, because it's trained on a big corpus of the internet, which also has that bias and those ethical problems baked into it. It also, there's the potential to leak data into it. So you could, if you're not careful, you can be putting in your PI from your company, or you could be putting in personally identifiable information into these products, and actually it becomes part of the training data so other people could see it. So there's concerns around that. There's this concept of hallucinations. So ChatGPT it's an amazing prediction engine, effectively. It's very, very good at predicting what the next word will be in this sentence. That's kind of, in simple terms, how it works. But what it can't do then is it can't tell you how it got there, and actually it just makes stuff up sometimes because it's just guessing what that next word will be. It's guessing incorrectly, and that's where you get these hallucinations. So there's obviously some risk around giving access to a product that's going to give you misinformation. And the pace of this and the kind of the lack of expertise in-house then creates this sense of a lack of control. And what we're seeing a lot is that there's just a blanket, you can't use it, you've got to stop using it for these risks, and it's being whitelisted on firewalls and things. At WorkBuzz, though, we believe there is a different way to approach this. And I want you to imagine an AI that is bespoke to your organizations, and it's trained just on your documentation from across everything you produce, documentation-wise, policies, procedures, manuals, your L&D portals, all of that content can become part of a training model for an AI that's bespoke to you. It's secure, it's only available to you, so it's ring-fenced just for your organization. It could have a low-level risk of hallucinations because it's basing it on that corpus of data that you fed it, and it's only answering from that corpus of data, and it can explain where it's got that from as well. And it could also be branded to look, feel, sound, act like your organization as well. So it could be an incredibly powerful tool. Now, what we'd like to introduce you to is WorkBuzz Aid. Now, we've been working on this for a little while. WorkBuzz Aid it's an expert on how you do HR in your business. It's an expert on your processes, your procedures, your manuals, your products, your services. So we're calling it this AI expert on your business in your pocket, because it will be great to use on a mobile phone, and particularly for these frontline workers that we've been talking about, a hugely powerful tool. So we've been trained, as a proof of concept, we've trained this on our own data. So we've been building this on the WorkBuzz model, and I want to walk through with you what that looks like and how that works. So we have two flavors. We have the HR advisor, and we have an employee advisor. So the HR advisor is aimed at people leaders and line managers, and we hear all the time that people are promoted into a management position, but not given the support, the training, to do their job effectively. And this is the kind of product that can help people with that and help onboard them and get them up to speed and have reliable access to this information, which is spread across this wide cross-section of your platforms and portals. So again, trained on your HR policies, your processes, your manuals. I'm going to kick this off now, and it should play. Yes, there we go. So this is asking HR-type questions. So what's the top 3 things for a people leader should focus on at WorkBuzz? So it's fetched that from our People Leader at WorkBuzz document. You can actually click on the download source document, and it will take you straight into that as well. But it's kind of condensed 3 pages of A4 down into 3 bullet points. There's a really bite-sized way for you to get to that. How do we encourage feedback? Next question. So there it's given the recommendations internally of how we give feedback to our colleagues. And again, you can get into that source document, so there's explainability over where it's got this from as well. And what's the best way to conduct a one-to-one? So again, it's pulled this from our communications at WorkBuzz document, but it's also going to then click straight into that, so you can actually then go and read in detail if you want to. So you've got the kind of the short, bite-sized version, but if you need to get to the full detail, that's all there for you as well. And then we have the employee advisor. Now, this is aimed at your employees, and actually, if you think about the context here at Leonardo Hotels, the example Steve gave earlier of people moving around the building, maybe new in role, they get stopped by a guest and asked a question and they're not sure what the answer is. A tool like this could give them, that kind of laser-guided focus into that answer without having to go, oh, is it in that portal or that one? So that's asked, what's our confidentiality promise? again, at WorkBuzz, but that could be, I'm checking in here. By doing so, are you going to put me on a mailing list? So it could answer questions like that. How do I change survey dates? Again, it's going to answer that question, but from this context here, it could be somebody phones and says, I'd like to change the dates of my reservation. How do you do that? And actually, you'll see in a moment that it talks about how to do that, but then actually you can click straight into our Knowledge Hub, and here's exactly how you do it in a step-by-step guide. So it could bring all of those sorts of documents into the hands of your everyday heroes very quickly, very easily, across all of these platforms as well. So we're very excited about this, and what we would love to do is run a pilot with 5 of our customers to come on the journey with us and help us shape this thing out, help us learn more about it, what kind of data you have, what documents you have, how efficient can we make it, all of this great stuff that we could do with it. We would love for you to come on the journey with us. We think it would be best suited to organizations with 1,000+ headcount, ideally 10 departments or locations. You obviously need the documents for us to train the AI on, so you would need to have a level of documentation already available and extractable as well. And ideally, frontline workers, again, we're very focused around that at the moment. I think this would be a great addition. So if you are interested, and that sounds like you, please email me. There's my email address, lewis.north@workbuzz.com, or speak to any of the WorkBuzzers here. That would be fantastic. We do have a poll, a Slido, which if you would like to scan the QR code with your mobile phones, please. The question is, from what you've seen and heard today, do you believe this product would address a need your company currently has? And if you could answer that for us, that would be fantastic. It's just to get an understanding of whether we're on the right track with this thing.